What's up, people? So we're gonna have a look at this game Jesse and I played on Sunday. It was the last game of the tournament, and Jesse was on 4 out of 4, so he hadn't lost, and I was on 3.5 out of 4. I should have also been 4 out of 4, but I ran out of time against Dino when I had about, I think it was 2 moves to checkmate. So that was kind of unfortunate, but this was the showdown between Jesse and myself. Something I discovered today is that Lichess has, and I don't know how to access all these games because they don't show them all. They show top games only, but they have a tons of games in the database. 900,000, 800,000, 200,000, 16, 17, 18, 19. They have something like 20 million games in the database, according to these numbers here. Not 20 million, sorry, 2 million. So I was playing white, Jesse was black. We got into a Sicilian. And we played kind of mainline up until move 8 or 9, I think. NDE2 is the popular move here, but I played B3, knight B3. And he played bishop E6. So we have a couple games by top players here. See, there should be much more games than just 4, but it's only showing top games, and I don't know how to access the rest of them. But we'll look at least one of those after I show you this game. So he played bishop E6, bishop G5. The computer is saying slight advantage for black. I don't know this opening well enough to be able to tell you why the computer might be saying that. F4, I guess, is the the move to retain some slight edge. But I wanted to castle queenside, just because. Hence queen d2, and he played knight c6 instead of knight d7. The main thing that knight c6 instead of knight d7 allows is it allows the early e5 break, because if the knight was here, if the knight was on d7, then this break wouldn't be as easy to manage. Let's see if he was able to do it with this. See, I still castled. He might be able to do it immediately anyway. Oh, this is, if he had played if he had played knight d7, then he would have a sizable advantage if I had still done the same thing, which I probably would have. But I just want to check if he can play this. He can play it, but it's not good. Huh. I guess because castles, if castles, then there's a discovery on h7 maybe, so this setup is delaying black castling, and there's a lot of pressure along the d file. I guess that's why it would be bad. So next time, Jesse, if we get into this line, then play knight d7 and castle. And you'll be doing quite good. So anyway, he played knight c6. I castled queenside like I wanted to, and then he played early d5. Did I say e5 earlier? I meant d5. He played early d5, and we just kind of played natural moves here. In this position, we figured the only way for white to retain an edge after we saw how this game ended was knight takes c3 and then the intermezzo. We figured this was better before the computer is indicating that it is better. Just because it's screwing up black's queenside pawn structure. And black can win the g2 pawn, but it's gonna be, if anything, decent for white, because black will either have to castle into this open, semi-open g-file or castle into this ruined queenside pawn structure. Yeah, so it's not even recommending that black take this pawn. So this would have been the way for white to retain the advantage, would be to take on c6, intermezzo move, then take on c3 with the queen. But I didn't even consider it, because the reason I didn't consider it was because I thought I was winning the e5 pawn. At this moment I thought I was winning the e5 pawn. So I just took here. And he can't really move this knight very easily. Can't really move the knight without moving it backwards, so he has to guard it. He would have to either move his bishop back, which looks really awkward, or do what he did, which is guard with rook c8. And at this point I thought I was winning e5, but as soon as I played bishop takes and he played rook takes, then I was like, oh, I'm not winning e5, because there's a trick on c2. And then for some reason I hallucinated that I was still winning material after this whole trade. And the point is that rook takes on c2, and then the bishop can take the knight with a discovery on my queen. And then I was like, oh, I can just pin him with either rook to e1 after all that, and it'll be fine. But my mind was telling me that I was winning material here, when it was really just going to I was just essentially giving the pawn back. And it was going into an absolutely equal pawn, rook and pawn endgame. So he took here, I took here, and then he did the discovery, and since I was hallucinating that I was winning material, I figured it didn't matter if I took with the pawn or the king, so I just took with the pawn, which by all counts is just a dumb decision, because as you can see, the computer even says like it was even, and now it's negative 0.3. So he took the queen, I went to retrieve that queen, takes, you know, and then it's just move everything to the center, and I offered a draw at this point, because I mean I might have tried to flag him. It would be hard for either of us to press. He would have been the one pressing, if anything, just because of my bad pawn structure. But I think we both had about 6 minutes here, so it wasn't really any point to press. So I offered a draw, he took the draw, and that was that. And it was, you can see with the Lichess analysis, it's pretty even all the way up to I guess when I castled, the computer is saying that was not so great. No, it was saying it was good for me when I castled, and that was because of the whole bishop takes c6 intermezzo, which I didn't see till we got there, and I didn't see it during the game. Lewis pointed it out. Was there anything else going on in this game? I've never really considered g3. Computer's saying that's a popular move 6. be3. Okay, so be3 is the popular move. Also, something to note is that this move that I did, bd3, if you look at the database here, bd3 is way at the bottom. It's the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's the 10th most popular move in this exact position, and it only has 316 games. It's not a bad move by the stats. It's a very drosh move by the stats. Although white is maintaining the same sort of win ratio with all these 10 moves here. I guess the highest one would be a4, this move, according to actual games won by white. But bishop d3 is I guess would be sort of a sideline to this position. $28,000 games to 316 games. So bd3, but we did have, I think I might have seen a Hikaru game where he played this move. Maybe that's why I played it. I don't really know. But let's have a look at a couple of these top GM games and see how they handle this position. Your Mac will sleep soon. It's not bedtime yet. For his Mac. So this is Hikaru versus MVL. And Hikaru had 1 inaccuracy, 14 sent upon loss, and MVL had 3 inaccuracies, 1 mistake, 2 blunders. I'm curious, so according to this graph here, opening is all the way up to around move 12, which means if we were in main line till move 7, I think we were about halfway there. But 7 moves in main line versus 12 is a huge difference, because that's just a giant tree. So this is following our game all the way up until move 7, where Hikaru played knight to e2 instead of knight b3 like I played. Otherwise, bishop e7 is the same. Okay, so Hikaru castled king side instead of queen side. Now they are on move 8. G3. This is interesting. So I guess it looks like there's a pawn hanging, but there would be a... I want to make arrows, but it's hard to make them without the mouse. Can I make arrows? Yes. Okay, so I guess the point here of knight e5 is if takes, then bishop h7, and now we just have a weak pawn on d5, or d6 after all of the trades. It's not looking like a huge advantage, but still the normal opening edge. So he took on d5, and he did not take with the knight, he played g6 instead. c4, 98. 98 preparing f5, I'm assuming. e4. Now the other knight comes out, so black is fully developed. Knight e4 is begging for f5 to happen. So Hikaru is saying his knight is better on c3 and f5 doesn't matter. c5. Why is that pawn not hanging? I guess because of knight b5 at the end of it, attacking the rook. So if you take here, takes, then I guess it's knight b5. And the rook can't guard this spot. Can't go there, can't go there. Stockfish is actually saying that the position is relatively the same if they went down this line, which is really interesting. Maybe it's an improvement for black. That would be crazy. I think it actually is an improvement for black. because as it sits, Stockfish is saying +2. And going this way. Yeah, it looks like an improvement. Only because there was an attack on the queen with rook d3. Okay, so that didn't happen. Instead, the knight came in to e5. And it looks like somebody did a bit of analysis in this game. Oh, I did a bit of analysis in this game. Okay. I literally, well, I mean, I could have, that could have been something else. Because there is actual analysis in here that I did not do. So, where are we? Okay, 95. C6 and knight a5. Whoever analyzed this position called this an inaccuracy. Best move was cx b7. Or sorry, best move was ra a8. So here. I don't know why. I mean, generally speaking, you don't want to make a move like this just because white can screw up your pawn structure if he wants. I don't know how much this has to do with the overall situation on the queen side though. What about, it looks like another pawn is trying to be sacked, but I guess there's knight here. If takes. Oh no, queen can just win it with queen e5 check. Stockfish is saying don't even do that. Just play knight to b5 and attack the knight and the rook. What if we do this? Still +5. Just a matter of personal style, I guess, at that point. So he played, MVO played knight to h5, takes, king h1. King h1 immediately drops a point, according to Stockfish. It's this little valley you see here. So that was, I guess, Hikaru's one inaccuracy. Yeah, king h1 was his one inaccuracy. Queen h4? Is that threatening something? I mean, maybe it's threatening knight to g4 with a fork. So queen d4 does address that. Say white didn't. Say white just took here, and we came here. Is that anything? Nope. You can't try and win the exchange because bad things are happening on the queen side. So he played queen d4. Oh, he did play knight g4. So Hikaru has a +6 advantage here. Wow. He's giving up his knight still. I mean, all these pawns look scary, but I guess there's not much going on there. What could be the threat here? This? Try and threaten mate. No, you can't do that because this would happen. So this might have been a threat if this wasn't weak. And takes here. Is that anything? And then push here. It looks like there could have been something there, but apparently there just isn't. No more checks. Oh, there's one more check. So Hikaru would have had to have calculated that that wasn't dangerous, even though it looks really scary. Okay, so C takes B7. Oh, he did go. He did go for G3. Either he went for it or this is my stuff still. I'm not sure. Okay, I think this is all mine. This is the analysis I just did, but black resigned, white is... Okay, let's see when black actually resigned. Let's go back to the game. This one. So I guess you can actually cite inside of your own game that there was a GM game that followed the same line, which is very helpful. Okay, so he did actually play this line that I just looked at, but it apparently wasn't dangerous. Best move is QE7. But QE7 is still a 14-point advantage. It got bad really quickly. Okay, and let's look at the other game. There was one other game. Also between Hikaru. Whoops. I just get rid of my study. I don't think so. Tim Cruise. There's Lewis. Let's see what Lewis's rating is at. .2186 Blitz, 2078 bullet. And mine is around 2200 for both. Gotta do more training. Studies, profile. There we go. So we had another game by young Hikaru, I think 2003. Yep. Where he won this same position from the black side. So instead of white playing knight to e2 like Hikaru on white side played, white, who is Louis Gallego, played my move, which is knight b3. So let's see how that... Oh, you can just sight it. That's very nice. Okay, so we'll sight both of these since we're looking at them. So knight b3. Let's look at it. Hikaru is playing black. And oh, it looks like he blundered a big one. One blunder. I think Hikaru is around my age. How old would he be here? Let's see. I think he's like 32? 31. He was born in 87. So 2003 would have been 16 years ago. So he'd be 21 minus 6. He was 15. So he was rated 2005. He was rated 2520 when he was 15. So he had probably just got his GM, or was very close to it. When did Hikaru get GM? How old? His peak rating was, peak USCF was 2,900. At the age of 10, he got Chess Master, so CM. Yep, in 2003 he got his GM title. 15 years and 79 days. The youngest American to earn the GM title, breaking the record of Bobby Fischer by 3 months. Okay, so that's interesting. Sicilian Nydorf. So bishop e6 was the same line, the same move that Jesse played, and then I played bishop g5, queen d2 here instead of castles. And I probably should just start playing castles because this is just not great. I mean, it's not losing or anything. Well, maybe here it is losing. I don't know. Not losing. So bishop e7, castles, f4. c7, f5. Now I think generally speaking, if f5 is played, if you lock the position, then if there's not some mate or material being won over here, somewhere on the king side, then the d5 break is gonna determine whether white has anything with f5 or not. Bishop c4. b5. So bishop g5 finally comes in. Knight to d7. Queen f3. Castle's king side. They're saying queen c7 was an inaccuracy. Best move was takes. Black's main advantage in this position is the semi-open c-file, so he's going to try and target that somehow at some point. Or this knight is also weak in some positions. Usually in this type of setup, you want the knight here to attack that and remove any defensive here. So something like that, but it's a little bit late for that to be happening. So white is trying to make this kingside pawn storm work. Let me guess. Bishop to e3 is bad because of immediate e5. Yeah. Which Hikaru missed. That was that spike we looked at earlier. Should have played e5. And if we just take everything. If we take everything, what's happening? Oh, we just win the bishop on e3. Okay. So it's not even because of the fork on e4, it's because of the move behind the fork. That's amazing. So he played knight h7 instead of d5, which was winning immediately. Let's look at that one more time, because that was a crazy line. Takes, and we don't even have to take with the bishop. You can go for this line immediately. Oh, and also rook f1 is here. It's just showing the screen. This is just a super complicated position after d5, but it looks like it's just winning for black. Takes. So if bishop takes, then the rook falls, and if knight takes, then it's that same line with bishop here, the double attack on the queen. And this piece here will get one. So here it's saying bishop takes, take exchange. So this whole thing isn't available unless knight takes here. So with knight takes, there's so many lines in this one line. Knight takes, bishop takes. I think I'm mixing myself up. What was the line I looked at here? Was this? Maybe. Oh, I think I took immediately with the knight. That's what I did. That was the one I looked at. Okay. But I'm sure Hikaru looked at this and found this afterward and had it ready for if the same position ever came up. As should everyone who ever looks at this game, hopefully. It's more important to understand the thematic elements, because you can't memorize all the games. Just understanding that the e5 break is what you want to get in this Sicilian Najdorf position in order to at least achieve equality. That's the main thing you need to remember. Okay, so let's go back to the game. So he played knight h7. Knight h7. How do we get back to the game? Okay. This is the game. Knight h7, bishop takes c4. Queen takes c4. Rook f2. Inaccuracy, best move was queen g2. That's a weird. I don't know why queen g2 would be better. Rook f2 looks like he's trying to double on the d file. Anyway. Knight df6. Best move is queen c6. Queen a8. Knight a5. Some shuffling. What's the point of going? Is this a draw line? I also don't know who did this analysis. So best move was gc7. So back to the game. The rook did go over to the d file. Knight came into g5, takes. Rook d3. Doesn't look like there's a ton of saying white still has the advantage here. Is there anything with g5? Stockfish is saying that's +4. Maybe that was a possibility for at least moving the game along. So he played rook, or Lewis played rook d3, bishop back. Somehow this turned from a drawish position into a dead loss position. So he played b4. Knight c5, rook a4. Yeah, this position, even though the computer is saying it's pretty even, it feels like it feels much better for black. Mainly because, I think because of these knights sitting in front of the pawns, I think that's why it feels bad in my mind. Although this pawn is also backwards. These pieces are a bit disjointed as well. Much more harmonious. That's a bit backwards. But that knight is very well placed. And all of a sudden, after this little exchange, after queen e3, Okay, he didn't play this queen n move. He played queen a8. Yeah, these pawns just seem forever weak. So white wins the pawn on g5, and then finally d5 break comes in. So the point here is that after all of this, white can't defend the d5 pawn. If he goes here, that drops. If he goes here, that drops. So he has to go here or there. So he goes rook c3, pawn drops, and now the white king is very vulnerable after pushing all these pawns. Now the bishop comes to join in the fun. Something really bad happened here. Queen takes e4 apparently was a huge blunder. Can't guard the knight. Queen g2 is the recommended move. That's crazy. So I guess the immediate threat is bishop h2 mate. Well, it's not mate. Bishop h2. This is guarding it, and this can't take because of the pin. So bishop h2, king here, leads to mate on f1. So you have to somehow guard against bishop h2, and you do that via queen here. Okay, so that's that game. Hikaru, when he just got his GM, when he was 15. So I'm gonna stop there. Thanks for watching, everyone. Jesse, Joel, if you're watching. Yep. And we didn't write this one down. We extracted it from our brains after the tournament. So, yep. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.